if we're talking again about like the idea of like enhancements, like you called it, you know, people doing things like, you know, filler and all that kind of stuff. It seems to me that things have gotten to a point where people are going to get these things done because there is a one standard or picture in people's head that they are all trying to look like. So you have people who go and get filler or get whatever procedures done, and they all walk out looking like kind of a version of the same because their goal is to be as close as they can to this one
ideal.
Yeah, this one standard, this one picture that they have in their head. And that I totally disagree with, because there is no one standard or picture of beauty. Like you said, you're beautiful because you just are, because you were made that way. So like from a makeup perspective, like for me, like I don't try to get everyone whose makeup I do to try to look the same. It's like you said, like, what do you love about yourself? What are your favorite things about your face? Like, what do you feel like are your best features? And like, let's enhance that, because that feels beautiful to you.
I don't think fish drink water.
Are we making ourselves sound so dumb right now?
Is there any point in The Little Mermaid when we see Ariel drinking something?
She's not a fish.
No, but she's a mermaid.
So?
That's the point.
She's our standard.
Yeah.
But that's not a fish. That's a person.
No.
We're looking to her for all of our answers.
She's a humanoid.
A humanoid.
No.
One
How
time
is she
I was
not?
out and a little kid came up to me and said I looked like the Little Mermaid. I almost cried.
Wait, no, I would.
The Haley version?
Hallie.
Hallie
Yes.
version?
Yeah.
I would have cried.
I was like, I don't think I have ever been a higher compliment ever.
I would have cried.
Yeah.
I
I
cried.
don't care if it's just because we're both black and have locks. I was
I was going to
ecstatic.
say, I feel like this kid is racist.
No.
No,
I'm taking it.
I would have cried too.
Yeah.
Okay, no, it wasn't like a sob.
Or when
but like
a kid
I
says
had,
like you look like a princess. You're like, oh,
yeah.
thank you.
Have you seen those videos of the like the brides when they're out like taking pictures after their wedding ceremony, and then like the little
Yes.
girl comes up like thinking that they're like some type of princess or something? Have you seen those?
Yes. And I cry.
So cute.
It's so sweet.
So cute. I had tears in my eyes like several years ago when we went to Disneyland,
Yeah.
and I got to meet Princess Jasmine and Aladdin.
Oh, I remember you said that.
I had tears in my eyes.
That's so sweet.
And it was funny because I looked at her and I knew exactly what lipstick she was wearing.
Only you.
I'm like, that is Rebel by MAC.
I have it. I will be wearing it.
I did have it. And I did wear it
remember-
after.
Don't you remember everyone? There was a point in time where it was like Rebel and Oxblood.
Yeah.
Those were the lip colors, like circa 2016. would
Or
it be?
it was Rebel and Night Moth. Yeah, that was another good combo.
Yeah, everyone had it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But that's when we were all doing like the 2016 like Autumn Girl makeup. Do you remember that? Like we were
I
also
did not
wearing
partake,
like,
but I
like
remember
the
it.
booties and like the circle skirts
yes,
and like
that and the infinity scarf.
with the owl necklace.
Yeah, and
It
the
was
beanie.
It was the whole thing. Yeah.
Life was in high saturation.
Yeah.
Those are the days.
Oh my gosh.
Bethany Moto ran the town.
Oh, she
My
was
life
everything.
is Ava.
Yeah. It was a simpler time.
It was. I miss those days.
Okay, you know what was also happening around that time that's like actually making a comeback for me right now? Okay, so I was cleaning the apartment this morning and I found myself listening to Sean Desmond. Do you remember Sean Desmond?
No, wait.
The Canadian,
You're going to get roasted if you don't know who Sean Desmond is.
Okay, because
As
I
a
am.
Canadian.
like what are some of his like top songs?
No, none of us know. He's just Sean Desmond.
Like,
There's
the
this one
name
song,
sounds
Night Like
familiar.
This. Do you remember that song? Makes me want to say, hey, yeah, yeah, I don't want this feeling to end. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. Like vaguely.
Yeah.
Like,
There's that and
vaguely.
then like a bunch of other ones. Anyway, I had
Jay
a
pulling up
playlist of
Google.
him going this morning while I was cleaning. I don't even know how it happened. I just did it. I just put it on.
Really?
Yeah. I was like full on reliving my youth. Like,
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna sound so bad. When you said Sean Desmond, at first, I pictured
What? What?
this isn't even Sean. Do you remember? Do you remember that Justin Bieber song? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by
No,
yeah.
catch a bad
It's
chick.
a bad chick. Catch a bad chick by the toe. If she holler, if she holler, let her go.
Is it
She's
really?
indecisive. She can't decide. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's
guy-
Sean Kingston.
That's who I was picturing.
That's a very different person.
Yeah.
And
very
then you were like,
different, yeah.
yeah. No, literally. I was like, the way you said it, and I was like, okay, we're talking about White Girl Fall. We're talking about music. Why am I picturing Sean Kingston? I knew I was wrong, but that's what I pictured.
I mean,
So,
they both had really popular songs
I'm
from like the
uncultured.
same era, I feel like, right?
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know.
No, that's a different one.
I'm not. We all know that
That's the one that I was just talking
My
about.
music-
But they're all popular.
I was more versed in some genres over others. I don't think this genre.
Fair. This is the song.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
I'm gonna have to mute this part for you too.
Okay. Not him trying to be Usher.
Uh-huh. Also, like, kind of Justin Timberlake as well.
Yeah.
Makes me wanna say, hey, yeah, yeah.
I do remember this.
Don't want this.
I'm so sure this played
feeling
at prom. Like, you were listening to this?
Yes! As I'm scrubbing the bathtub.
Stop it.
Like, reliving my youth while I'm doing very adulty things.
Kind of love that for you. It's a sleigh.
Sean
We'll take
Desmond
it.
is a Canadian national treasure.
Icon.
National treasure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get roasted and toasted.
He
Like,
he
even
does
if you
have
don't
some
know
hits.
his music,
You know.
you just know of Sean Desmond.
Well, the name was like familiar, but then again, I pictured
Okay,
Sean
do you
Kingston,
remember
so-
what was the girl? What was her
Sean
name? Do you remember like
Kingston.
Alicia Cara? That was her name,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I remember her. She's from
Okay.
Brampton, no?
Huh?
Yeah,
Isn't she from
Browntown.
Brampton?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. But they're like in like the same
Yeah. Well,
era.
No,
The
they're
thing
not.
I-
Alicia Cara?
she's recent.
She's our age.
No, but like I'm saying that they were popular on the radio. They both had like hits on the radio at around the same time.
No.
Yes, they did.
This is older. What year did
Sean
this come
Desmond
out?
is significantly before Alicia Cara.
Oh, really?
Very much so.
Can you hear my stomach?
No.
Okay.
Now we're listening, but no.
I should never out myself.
You
Wait.
shouldn't.
Okay, because we have to enter the pod. But I was gonna say,
Oh, yeah.
with what I didn't realize is there's a lot of songs that we as Canadians know and thought were like huge hits, but it's just that in Canada we have that law that like there has to be a certain amount of Canadian artists on the radio, and so there are songs that we think everybody knows, and we have like this arsenal of like just Canadian artists in our head that people are like, what now?
Yeah.
And like we were raised
Yeah.
on these bops.
you know who
on the
one
radio.
of those groups is for me is Mariana's
Mariana's
Trench.
Trench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know
Yeah.
what?
Alicia
So
Cara is
good.
28.
Yeah,
She's younger than.
Yeah, she's not the same era as Sean
no,
Desmond.
she's like new to me.
You
She's
gonna get
cool though.
roasted, too.
She's really cute. Her music is nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's so, this is all making me feel very old.
It's okay.
You should intro the pod though.
I should. Well, EJ.
I forgot about that.
And
It's
Sean
so
Desmond is
dist-
42.
Oh,
my God.
Priya. Okay, now I don't feel that bad that I had a brain fart and wasn't sure who Sean Desmond was because you thought him and Alessia were.
I haven't thought about him in a long
Buddies.
time, but he's making a comeback on TikTok.
Everyone
respect
eventually
it.
makes a comeback. on
Alicia
TikTok.
Cara is the same era as Teo Cruz.
Oh my gosh.
That's the era.
What was his really popular song?
I'm trying to remember it. It's
I know the name, no music.
Dynamite.
Like we
Gonna
gonna
light it up like it's dynamite. Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
That
Yeah.
song.
That was that time
I love that
period of music.
That was another
That was a
good
fun
one.
time period.
When that song came out, like that was the song of the summer.
Oh my gosh.
2000s to the 2010s was a fun.
Yeah.
That's where you're gonna find your wedding playlist is in
Yes.
that
yeah.
gap.
Because
And
it's
some of
someone
the
that everyone
90s.
knows and loves.
Well, yes, of course, but like, yeah, They had like the bops to like dance.
Yeah.
Too.
We had
Forever.
yeah. We had Party in the USA.
Oh,
Kiss Kiss.
We had Kiss Kiss.
yeah.
We had
Dynamite.
Call Me Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, call me maybe.
Yeah. The ones that everyone knows and loves.
Yeah. What's that one Katy Perry song about paper bags blowing through the wind?
Oh,
California Girls.
we had California Girls, but that one is called
California Girls is a big one.
Party
what's it
Rock.
called? Oh my gosh, Party
Do you
Rock.
ever feel like a plastic bag?
Yeah, firework.
Tonight.
Firework.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Just the Way You Are.
Just the way you are.
Oh my God.
Airplanes.
Airplanes.
Starships. We had starships.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what else was there?
We had gems.
Man.
I never think about this music until you start thinking about it, and then you go through like a wormhole.
You realize how old you are?
Yeah.
Riding solo.
Oh my god.
I, in my dance class in grade 11, we did a dance to that song.
I forgot that you took dance in high school too. That's so funny.
A lot
Oh
of
gosh.
Justin Bieber too.
Well,
Yeah.
As your boyfriend, I never let you go.
Hey! What did that part go in that song? Swag, swag, swag on you. Chilling by the fire while we eating fondue.
I don't know about me, but I know about you. So hello to falsetto in 3, 2, swaggy. I'd like to be.
Just is fire. I don't care what
No,
lyrics
I
say.
don't care.
He is.
Justin Jamal Bieber.
Justin
Oh
is
yeah,
fire.
Despacito.
I love Justin Bieber. I will
Despacito.
say
That
he's
was
the one artist I know all his stuff.
Justin?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm mad I haven't met him yet. Considering my cousin
What about your cousin?
is his bodyguard.
How am I just hearing this?
Isn't he-
Isn't
no,
he head of
EJ,
security?
I would have remembered this. Your cousin is Justin Bieber's bodyguard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Have you ever seen the Justin documentary?
I haven't watched it. I'm a fake fan apparently. Wait, are we being for real? No, I would have remembered this, EJ. You've been holding out on me, both
It's
of
for
you.
real. It's for real.
He's on the album.
Shut up.
You
I feel like Mia Thermopolis right now. That's all I can say.
remember the Justin Bieber Christian album he came out with?
Yes.
The very last song. He's on it. Lauren Walters. What's the name of that album?
We know someone famous.
You know someone who knows someone who knows someone famous.
Actually, one of my really good friends in high school, unfortunately we lost touch, but in high school we were close.
What a shame.
And she like grew up with Justin Bieber. Him and her were like best friends. Like they grew up like their families were really close.
Really?
And I remember the first time she came in, like it was right after his first song had like blown up, and she's like, "Yeah, like he's like a really good friend of mine." And everyone was
What was
like,
his first song? Was it One Less Lonely Girl?
"No, it was one time."
Oh,
One Time.
yeah. Sorry, One Time. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, look.
Oh
Lauren
my
Walters.
gosh.
A lot of Justin's coming to Jesus was Lauren.
Praise God for that. I actually love that.
That is like Lauren's a big
God
influence.
will literally put people in your life in the most unexpected ways and say like, "You think that's your bodyguard? Think again." Like that's discipleship. Like that's so cool.
Wait, what are you looking up now?
Keep talking.
Okay, I shouldn't show the pod.
Oh yeah.
Should I? Yeah.
Yeah, do
I
it.
feel like I almost forgot
I'm
we
ready
were
to go.
recording.
Let's do it.
Oh, excuse
This
me.
is going to be an interesting one.
I'm still shook to my core. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Big Girl Panties, the podcast where faith meets real life and we dive into the heart of womanhood. We're your hosts. I'm Shaina. That's Priya. And we invite you to join us on embracing the messy, the complicated, and the beautiful aspects of life through a Christian lens and put on our big girl panties to tackle the tough stuff together. Okay. You said you had a little anecdote for me before we get into
That was
BGP
it.
moment.
Just that I'm reliving my musical childhood.
Oh, that was the anecdote.
That's it. That's
okay,
it.
cool.
I've said what I have to say.
I said what I needed to say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I mean, what's your BGP moment this week? That was a loaded question.
Well,
This comes out on Thursday.
Oh.
Thank you.
No, but let's maybe we should let it cool down a little more.
Yeah.
Than just Thursday.
I won't say too much. I've
Famous last
entered my
words.
Elle Woods era, which is fun. More on that later. But aside from that, so you know how at the beginning of the moving
Wait.
swiftly along.
Elle Woods Legally Blonde for anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Yes, moving swiftly along. So, you know how at the beginning of the year I said that I wanted to try to like figure out my hair, like figure out
Yes.
how to like deal with like my natural like hair texture.
I do remember that.
Okay, so I tried it this week. I tried the method where like after you wash your hair, when you're still in the shower and your hair is like sopping wet, you like do all the like curled cream gel whatever thing and like the scrunchie and run it through and blah blah blah. Like so it's like with all of the water in your hair thing. So I tried it and it actually turned out like really good. I was very happy with it.
Do you
Yeah.
have pictures?
No, I have none.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I feel like it still needs some work.
You've
I
let
feel
me
like there was
down.
too much water in my hair still. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I need to work on it still. But I tried it and I was really happy with it. And so I feel like I'm further along to reaching my 2024 goal of figuring out my hair. So
Nice.
that was fun.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Next time pics or it didn't happen.
Sorry. I should have thought about it, but
It's okay.
you know,
It's fine.
yeah.
Anyway, love this for you.
But yeah.
And more on Elle Woods later.
Yes.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Um,
What about you, Shaina?
what about me? I realized that it feels like not much life has happened between the last time we recorded and now. It hasn't even been a full week yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of like, what has happened? Did you know when you're in a season where it just feels like you're doing things over and over? Like, I kind of feel like that's where I'm at. But I guess I could say I've been trying to, within that repetitiveness, create space to do things in a way. I wouldn't call it like romanticizing per se, but try to take out moments of extra gratitude or moments of like making things more special, because I know it is so easy when we're in that repetitive season to start to either fall prey to comparison or start to feel like the things that you're doing aren't that great and kind of lose that gratefulness for something that maybe a couple of months ago you were in a waiting season for, and now it's here and you're just like, everything's the same. So I think I've just been trying to, like lean into that idea of gratitude, being thankful that when I'm in this state of things being the same, it means that I'm not dealing with a bunch of unrest, and that's thankful. Like that's a good thing. And just trying to take moments to express gratitude to God where I can, to make sure that all that doesn't become a comparison trap. Yeah, that's that.
That's good. I think it's funny how sometimes, like, you know, when someone will ask you, like, oh, like, what's new? And you're like, not really anything much.
Yeah.
But, like, you know that there are things that are new, but they're more like internal
They're
things.
you things.
And, like, personal ways that you've been growing, not like outward quantifiable, like, milestones that you could update somebody on. I feel like that's when it gets hard to, like, stay in that state that you're describing, because it's like, I have to be thankful for like the little things that are happening inside and like be mindful of those, even though outside it's like, everything's the same.
No, I agree. And also just soaking up the stillness of it all, because there's plenty of times where you're going to have those big changes, and while those big changes are exciting, I feel like I'm getting all stuffy, while they're getting exciting, or hold on, I just lost that train of thought so hard.
Kind of watched it happen too.
You saw it, like,
It's funny because I feel like what just happened to you on the outside is what's happening in my brain this whole time. Shaina, the way that I'm trying so hard
To stay on track.
to focus on everything that I'm trying to say and you're trying to say.
I don't like. Usually, I'm pretty good at being like locked in. I don't know what happened right there. What was I even saying? Oh my gosh, am I okay? I'm turning into Priya. No kidding.
No, but you might be. You might be.
No, I could get it back. Hold on. I cannot believe that just happened.
Wait, this is so funny.
And it was like something.
I hate this for you, but I feel really validated right now.
Okay.
You're not gonna get it back
I think
if
I
you
got
keep
it. I think I got it. Yeah.
Okay, go.
I was saying that it's like good to basically be thankful for those moments of peace and stillness, because I think that that's where we are able to grow. Mm-hmm. When you have those big moments and it's like, okay, there's this happening. I can update people on this, and this. You're in a state of hurry. You're in a state of, I'll say, unrest. And it's not to say that unrest means a bad thing. It just means that there's a lot happening. And when there's a lot happening, we don't really get to reflect and we don't get to pause. And a lot of the time we're so busy that sometimes we also forget to pull God into it even more. And like all those things start to happen. So in the lulls, I guess I'll say, I'm so thankful for them, because it calls me to be still, and it calls me to reflect more and be more thankful and to just focus on God more, because that's where it's at anyway. And that's what I want to be doing. And I think that is why he gives us seasons of, whether it be waiting or seasons of just calm. I don't want to call them seasons of being stagnant. I think they're seasons of calm. And I'm thankful for them. That was that.
I love that.
Yeah, thanks.
That's really nice.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to a season of calm.
I'm so looking. You deserve a season of calm, babe. Like, you really deserve one. I'm excited for you to have that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to reflect on all the growth that you've been able to have in the uncalm. Anyways.
I think you have to create calm.
Yes.
I don't think calm just shows up.
Yeah, I think you have to be intentional towards it.
Yeah. I'm in the process of creating my calm.
Yeah. Why does that sound like a Pinterest quote? Create your calm.
Create your calm. It does.
That could be like a tagline for a spa or something.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, don't give anyone any ideas.
Oh, sorry. Trademark. That is owned by Big Girl Panties.
You heard it here first.
I don't think that's how trademarks work.
It is now.
It is now.
Okay. Girl
Yeah.
math. Yeah, I think that not only do you have to like maybe create calm, but I think you have to be accepting towards calm. I think that's how I would phrase it. Like, there could be calm and you're not willing to accept that that's what it is, and you think it's something else, or you try to mislabel it, or you try to run away from it. And I think it's because in a world of so much hustle and bustle and hurry, and like hurry is glorified. And so I think it's easy for us to take stillness as something wrong. And I think that that's, again, if we talk about, I always think that this is so wild how this happens. There's always what God wanted, and then there's the counterfeit that the devil wants. And if God wants us to be in stillness and peace and like rest, like he calls us to rest, of course the counterfeit is going to be like, hurry, hurry, hurry. If you don't do all these things, it means you're inadequate. If you don't do all these things, it means you're not hustling enough. If you're doing these things like XYZ, like just inadequate. And that's not true.
Yeah.
Like, we're dependent, and that's okay. And to be dependent, it requires that sense of stillness and rest, and just like, I'll just sit here, and like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And it's not a state to be in constantly. Like, obviously we have to do action and do things, but I think we should soak it up when it's there.
Well, I mean, the Bible says like there's a time for
There's a season for everything under the sun.
Yeah, like there's a time to work, and then it specifically says there's a time to rest.
Yes.
So, yes,
Yeah.
take the rest.
Take it.
Yeah. Okay, wait. You told me to tell you. You have the one. Yeah, that's the one.
This is the unruly one. How's that?
Better.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you, friend.
I'll keep an eye out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The locks be betraying me sometimes. As though I didn't grow them with my hard-earned scalp for years.
You did, and I know you did.
Hard work and dedication.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. I miss when EJ had locks too, and then we were lock buddies. Now
I know.
and sometimes it's a weird. I know your hair has been gone for so long, but sometimes I see you and I'm still shook that there's no locks there. Like I'll be like, whoa. Yeah, especially every time when you get another haircut. And like they look great, but I'm always like, oh, I forgot he didn't have locks anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who else misses them? Is my dad.
I can picture that.
Yeah.
The white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He
As
thought
European
that they
as they
were
come.
so cool. Like, he loved them. He thought it was like the coolest thing ever. Yeah, he misses them too.
Oh,
I don't miss him at all.
No, I know. you
really?
don't.
I like having short hair. I like a fresh fade. I like putting my head
Everyone
on the
likes
pillow
fresh fade.
and feeling like skin to pillow case.
The cold side of the pillow.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 That's fair.
I
I
like when
think.
Priya touches my head. It didn't happen when I had dreads.
Oh.
Like the skin contact.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't
That's
you say
funny.
the other day, what was it that I asked and he said a good head rub was
You said what's the equivalent to forehead kisses?
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good head rub.
Yeah. That's funny.
I get that. Okay, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about aging today.
Aging.
And specifically the struggle for women in aging. And this came about because I noticed specifically, I mean, both of us have had many an experience with people saying things about like, oh, you know, you're not getting younger, yada, da. But I've noticed recently a few things. One, I think I just have started transitioning into like following older people on social media for inspo because I'm just kind of like I just want the more mature vibes. And it's interesting to hear them discuss the things that they're going through because there's a lot of terminology like on the shelf or like body clock and like all those types of terms. I've also noticed in my own circles, particularly in church circles, there being some of that pressure of like, oh, you know, you're getting older, like particularly when it comes to children, but also just women feeling like they're on the shelf when it comes to dating if they're older, or feeling like they have to present a lot younger in terms of like product. There's a lot of anti-aging products. There's a lot of like, you know, start the Botox now, ladies. Like you're young, start it. Like you're 25, you should start your baby Botox. There's so much of that messaging. And it's interesting because I've never really had a concern about aging. And I'll start off with how I look. That has not crossed my mind. To be fair, I know I probably look a bit younger than I am. And so that's, you know, there's that. But I never really thought about it much. And then sometimes I realize I'll be like, like, should I be getting Botox? Like, and I've never once in my life been like, yeah, I'm going to be the girl that gets Botox. More power to you if you do. Like, I'm not hating, but it just never crossed my mind. And all of a sudden it's like, should I be? Like, and then you think about it. And it's just interesting to notice. But that's kind of where I was coming from, just noticing a lot of the messaging around aging for women. And I'd particularly like to dive into it in terms of like, as Christian women, the extra little oomph that comes with the idea of aging. But what are your experiences when it comes to aging conversations and women, and whether it be the church or just other things?
Okay, I was going to ask you, but you beat me to it.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like we probably have a lot of similar experiences, but then in the areas where our lives are different, I feel like we probably have very different experiences. So for example, I feel like you, especially like in the church, have a lot of experiences with that idea of like, oh, like, you know, marriage and kids and blah, blah, blah. And like, what's your game plan, you know, kind of thing. But then like me being specifically like in the industry that I am, I have experiences like literally every day
Yes.
with women and talking about like, you know, the appearance side of aging and like anti-aging and do we need to be fearful of it or should we embrace it kind of conversations. So Yeah, I mean, I have conversations like that, yeah, with women all the time. I feel like for me personally, I think I'm a little bit in the same boat as you in the sense that like I don't, at least I hope. Maybe this is my blindness. Maybe this is my blush blindness. But like I don't think that I necessarily look my age completely.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think that that probably affords me a bit of a
Some grace.
unfortunate peace of mind, if you will, in terms of like thinking about myself in relation to like the appearance side of anti-aging. But yeah, I have conversations with women all the time about it who don't necessarily feel that way and who are very aware and if not self-conscious about it, which is so unfortunate to me because I think that, I mean, I do agree with the idea that like you can do what you want, you know? And so if you do choose to go and get, you know, a little bit of, you know, Botox somewhere or restore a little bit of volume or something like that, you know, like more power to you, like go do it, you know? I think my thoughts on that are more so like, what's the motivation?
I agree.
Because I think that for me, like if it's coming from, if the motivation is coming from like a deep place of like insecurity, then like, you know, there's a bigger conversation to be had there. Whereas I know other women who are confident in themselves and who are not trying to not look their age, you know, but like the idea of like, you know what, if I could have like 3 less like eye wrinkles, you know, like if I could just like take down my crow's feet like a little bit, it would save me some time in the morning when I'm trying to blend out my concealer. You know what I mean? Like, and I think if it's like that kind of a thing, then that is kind of different, you know? But it's so nuanced. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
But then as far as like the clock and everything goes, I mean, I do hear it, you know, people asking, oh, like how long have you been married now? Okay, so when are the kids coming? And that kind of thing, which I mean, I don't necessarily feel like I'm running out of time. But when I do hear people ask those kinds of things, there is something in the back of my head that goes like, well, wait, like, are you like running out of like, how many days do I have left? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's hard. It's hard to navigate. It's really hard to navigate.
It is. And I think the most interesting piece of it for me is that there's an equal amount of it being self-inflicted and then other inflicted. And we don't always see that with things that we struggle with. Like sometimes it's one or the other, but this is like equal. Like you hear, again, somebody might say something to you and then you're like, oh my gosh, wait. And now you've started enforcing it in yourself. Or, you know, something may have started off as a thing that you just did and you were confident in it and now it has become an insecurity. Like there's so many, like you said, nuances to it. I'm curious with the conversations that you do have with women being in the beauty space. Do you think that you're coming across more women who are like, I guess, confident in, like they're making those decisions for things that they're going to do, we'll say anti-aging things. But it's coming from a place of confidence versus the people that it might be coming from a place of insecurity. Because when you're saying that, in my head, I'm almost like, is there ever actually a place where it's fully coming from confidence or will there always be a tone of insecurity?
Yeah, I've thought about that too. I think that see, because then I wonder, is it like in the cases where I would say they are more secure in their self, but they're talking about like, you know, having some little like nip and tuck kind of done. Is it actually insecurity or is it dissatisfaction? And are those the same things? I don't know.
Break down what you think insecurity is versus dissatisfaction.
Like insecurity as in like this thing that I perceive as a problem or a flaw is upsetting to me because of the way that I think I'm going to be perceived by other people when they see it. Or dissatisfaction as in like, okay, yeah, I'm like in my whatever, in my 50s or in my like 60s or whatever. And like, I love that. Like I love my life. And so I'm not trying to wish that I was back in my 20s again. I just don't love the fact that I have like the crow's feet that I do. So if I could not have them, I would prefer that.
To not, yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like there definitely can be a lot of crossover, but I don't know. I just wonder, like, I feel like there's a difference. What do you think?
It feels blurry to me.
I think it is blurry.
Yeah, because if, for example, I guess in my head I'm thinking, because initially that makes sense. Like there's insecurity, there's dissatisfaction. Cool. But where does dissatisfaction root from?
Mm-hmm.
And like if I had never known that when I turn 50 or 60 or whatever it is, that the crow's feet that I have can be removed, would that ever be a dissatisfaction for me?
Yeah.
It would just be something that I accept.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is 50, this is 60. Like, hey girl. And so if I now, because that option has been presented, that's what breeds my insatisfaction or dissatisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comparison thing. And I think that comparison is often rooted in insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not quite sure if there's actually a true differentiation where I know I'm safe to do this because it's purely coming from a place of dissatisfaction and just like because I just want to, versus maybe I should hold off because I'm insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily think that we have to have the answer for that either, especially not in terms of like a broader sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think each person is going to do what's right for them. I think in the context of Christianity for women, like if you are considering getting certain things done or you're thinking about anti-aging, and I'm especially when it comes to like cosmetic procedure, I do think it's okay to invite God into that and be like, hey God, do you think that this is like,
mm-hmm.
if I'm doing it for the wrong reason, or if I'm doing it specifically because I'm deeply insecure and you know that there's something that I need to work on here, like reveal that to me. I think that that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting because then there's the whole side of anti-aging that has nothing to do with like getting needles or Botox or whatever. And it's just like skincare.
Mm-hmm.
And like both of us have rigid skincare routines.
Absolutely.
And when I think about my motivation for that, it's not really anything other than like I like doing it and I like my skin to feel good.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I could kind of see it.
I don't think there's I don't think that there's anything wrong with introducing a retinol into your routine once you turn 27. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't think skincare is anti-aging.
But it is.
You can have anti-aging skincare. Like,
how? How is taking care of your present self anti-aging?
Because there are certain ingredients that help with preventing or reducing signs of aging. For example, things like fine lines and wrinkles and stuff like that.
But how is it anti-aging? Because you're going to age regardless. But if you take care of yourself, you're still aging.
Well, right, you are. But anti-aging in the sense that, like, again, it's reducing the physical appearance on your skin of signs of aging.
But I think
this is what they call it.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, though. And I think that the term anti-aging is very calculated.
It is.
On purpose.
It is it is misleading.
Because you're right. You can age, but it's just that the wear and tear is doing better. It's the same thing like a car. If you take care of your car, it could be mint condition. It was in 1996. Mm-hmm. It's still like 28 years old? Like that doesn't change.
Okay,
but it could look good.
So here's a question. Is somebody who goes to the gym consistently anti-aging in the same way?
Like, is that like the physical, like, body equivalent of like using a retinol in your skincare routine, for example?
Is it the same mental thought process? If skincare, taking care of your skin now is is a form of anti-aging, wouldn't physical activity be the same thing?
I would say yes.
I get what you're
But we
saying.
don't think about working out as anti-aging.
No, but we think about it in
It's just
terms
health.
of, but a lot of people are not working out just for their health. It's very much so
Yeah.
a aesthetic thing.
Yeah.
But
I also think that the
but
difference is,
not
though,
a like I'm aging aesthetic. It's a I want to look good
It's an
right
appearance
now.
aesthetic. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that I think that in general, the idea of anti-aging, and particularly the way it's marketed towards women, is really telling you that you're inadequate just the way you are, and like you need to do these things to improve, in which case the fitness industry would slide right on in with that.
and I think that that's the difference right there, is that there is crossover in terms of like the motivation, like you're talking about. But I think the difference is that they're two different industries, and so the messaging is going to be different. One is the fitness industry, which is one thing, and the other is the beauty industry, which is a whole other thing. So the messaging, like commercially speaking, regarding, you know, buy this anti-aging product, like buy this anti-aging skincare, whatever, is going to be different than the idea of, hey, like get a gym membership and keep your body healthy for longer,
But
kind of thing.
I think the fitness industry is the beauty industry.
That's what I'm saying. I think that there is
It's like
crossover,
same thing, different
but they're
font, though.
different.
Is that an eye roll?
No,
think
it
that
was
was-
me thinking.
Oh, I was like, what did we do to warrant this?
No, no sorry.
Tone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It looked like the biggest, juiciest eye roll. I was like, I'm so concerned.
No, that was me. Like I was looking at. The
Oh, okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. I understand that.
You're
Carry
reading
on.
your thought bubble.
Carry on.
thought. Yeah, I look at them.
I do that too.
Yeah, I'm like,
Searching the sky.
I don't know. I don't personally consider taking care of your health as anti-aging. I do consider things like procedures, right? Botox, anti-aging. The men who hit a certain age and then want to take TRT. That to me is anti-aging.
What's
Because
TRT?
naturally it's a testosterone.
taking, like,
Replacement
boosting your
therapy.
testosterone.
Oh, wow.
Because when you hit a certain age, your testosterone drops, so you're not able to. It's less testosterone. But when you see people like The Rock at 50 looking the way he does, that's not natural, right?
Right.
So to me, those kind of things, those procedures, it's more like a shot of something. That's anti-aging to me. But the actual just skincare or body care, I don't consider anti-aging.
I think that the word care, though, that you just used is interesting, because I think it's the difference between maintaining the health or the integrity of something that you already have, whether it's your like physique, like your physical condition, or, you know, the condition of your skin, versus like changing something, or like adding something.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with that. I think it's a mindset more than a actual activity that you do.
Yes. And I think that's where I was going to go with this is I do think that somebody, if depending on their mindset, putting on a retinol at night is entirely like the same mindset as somebody who goes under the knife. I do think it's about your mindset. I do think that there's a spectrum, but our mindset is very much so something to pay attention to in that. But I mean, with that being said, because I'm hoping we could kind of break this down a bit more in a through a Christian perspective, I suppose. If we know that anti-aging is something that we're being marketed, especially as women, I guess my first thing is like, why? What is it that really draws women to that actually? And then what is the alternative, or what do we actually know about aging? What does the Bible have to say about it, type of thing?
Well, I mean, the motivation, I think, is that like in our society here, in our culture here, I feel like we have this like weird over glorification of youth. And a misconception, maybe, of like everything that youth represents and everything that aging takes away from you. When in reality, like, there are so many things that you gain as you age. There are so many ways that things get better as you age. It's not just about physical appearance, but again, in our culture, in our society, we focus so much on physical appearance. And so when we think about aging, the taking away of your youth and therefore your beauty is what comes to mind, which is why I think that the anti-aging industry, if you will, is like thriving
Yes.
as much as it is. From like a Christian perspective, I guess, like one of my main questions that I would ask somebody, or that I would just like want to somebody to ponder, I guess, is like, do you know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made?
Amen.
Like, do you know that when you're 10? Do you know that when you're 25? Do you know that when you're 70? You know, being fearfully and wonderfully made, I feel like we talk about that idea in like with younger people a lot, because I guess that is like a lot of the age group where people are dealing with like, you know, insecurities and comparison and stuff like that, and trying to figure out like their sense of self-identity and all of those kinds of things, which is fine. It's good. We should. But like the people who are in their you know, 40s and 50s and 60s and beyond, like, also need to know that they too are fearfully and wonderfully made. Just be like, they've just been like alive for longer.
Yes.
You know, like you were just like born before this other person who was fearfully and also wonderfully made. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I guess that would be one of my main questions that I would love people to ponder. Do you know that you're fearfully and wonderfully made? And then based on the response to that, like have that conversation, whether it's with somebody or with yourself and God, whatever it happens to be. And again, I think that's where it also goes into motivation. You know, why do you want to do whatever it is that you have to do? Because again, for me, at the end of the day, you have free will. Go and do the things if you want to go do the things.
That's good.
But what's getting you to that point? What's your motivation?
Absolutely.
Is your heart okay in all of these decisions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that there is a positive motivation in choosing some sort of anti-aging procedure?
I don't know if I would use the word positive per se, but I think it can be neutral.
What do you mean by neutral?
For example,
Can any motivation be neutral? Isn't that kind of like an oxymoron for a motivation to be neutral?
but I'm saying like I think that something, it can be like, it doesn't have to be totally like positive, like yes, go do it, but it also doesn't have to be like, I don't think you should, like that might not be really good for you, like I don't think that you're like emotionally okay to make that decision kind of thing. Like I don't think that it has to be on either extreme.
I
So,
didn't
like-
say extreme. I just said positive.
But
I think that it can
in
just
the
be
context
neutral.
of this conversation, positive would be one extreme and negative would be the other extreme.
Yeah.
But when you say extreme, I think you mean like extreme.
I just mean on either end of the spectrum.
Okay, continue.
So like, for example, if somebody I knew really well, let's just say, who was like a nurse injector, let's just say, and they were like, hey, just for funsies, do you want to get like a couple, you know, units or whatever somewhere and just like see what you think of it? Like, we won't do much. It's not going to be drastic. It's not really going to change anything. I'm not going to charge you for it. It's not going to be whatever. Want to just try it out? I might be like, okay, all right. You know, I'm not like chomping at the bit to go and do it because I'm like, oh, I've been thinking about this for a long time and I really think that I need it. You know what I mean? That's not the place that I'm in. So I feel like in that sense, like it would be very neutral for me. Like if they hadn't offered, then I wouldn't have done it and I wouldn't have thought twice about it. That's me.
I don't think that's neutral though.
How not?
Why would you say yes?
Why not? It's an experience.
Okay, is that a positive
That was an
take?
eye roll.
That was an eye roll. Is that a positive take to just do something because it's an experience? When I say positive, I'm speaking more in terms of health.
Well, it's not negatively affecting my health.
No, not physical health. Mental health.
It's not negatively affecting my mental health.
How do I phrase what I'm trying to say? I'm not talking about it affecting your mental health. I'm talking about making a healthy choice. I think the idea of let's just do it because it's an experience with no thought, I'm just neutral, ooh, let's just do it, is not a healthy mental take, in my opinion.
Why? Because that feels like you're being callous about it?
No, it feels like you're being the opposite, frivolous.
Explain.
I think you should think about everything you do.
But okay, what gave you the impression that that would mean that I would not have thought about it?
Because you sat there and said, okay, sure, and shrugged your shoulders and said, why not? I think if you thought about it, you would know why not, or why. You would have an answer. I don't think neutral is you thought about it.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay.
I think that you can be neutral.
I just also know you. I think you skew more towards anti-aging. So that's why in your head you'd be like, sure. Without thinking about it. Because naturally I think you do skew towards that side of things.
In the sense that like when I am 60, it's fine if I look like I'm 60, but me at the ripe old age of 29 currently don't want to look like I'm 60 now.
But you couldn't.
Wouldn't that be an extreme? How would you look 60 at 29?
I'm just trying to make a point.
With an extreme. I personally think in this topic, I don't think there's a neutral.
Okay. I think in my head, there's not a neutral in terms of we cannot come to a generalized midway point, right?
Yeah, I don't think that you can.
I think that with this specifically for Christian women, conviction has a huge part to play. Mm-hmm. And if we think back, I forget how many episodes ago it was, but we had this conversation of like, how do you know if something is a good choice or not? Like, is it when you're seeking God, is it something where it's like, God, do I go left? Do I go right? And somebody had said the idea of sometimes there's not a right answer either way. Mm-hmm. I think that would be the only place where a person can individually reach that neutral conviction, where it's like there's not really any benefit or harsh repercussion either way. I know for myself, if I were to ever be presented with that option and I chose it, I think it would be because I was doing the thing where I look on the outside and not at the heart for myself. I know that. And that is because I have been vulnerable to insecurity about my physical appearance before. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say I'm like punishing myself for the rest of my days. I'm not allowed to like ever get filler. But like, I don't think I would, because I know what that would air to.
Right.
And I think in that way, my brain would be skewed, and I would be thinking about, you know, my worth being placed in what I look like, or what people view me as, or the fact that I'm more glowy now, or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're saying it would feed into growing a seed that you already know exists within you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think if we're going to come to something neutral, you have to take a really good hard look at yourself and determine, are there seeds here that I could potentially be watering that God does not want me to water?
I think that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
I have a question for both of you,
Sure.
because I think this plays into the conversation.
Okay.
I think a lot of this is a beauty thing, right? What do you guys consider beautiful, and what makes something beautiful? Because I think your answer to that, and not just for you specifically, but how somebody would answer that question would be telling of where they are in this conversation. What makes something beautiful?
In what sense?
Period. What is beauty? And then what makes something beautiful?
That's hard to answer.
That is a great question.
It is a good question, but I feel like it's hard to answer.
Because my gut instinct as you're saying that is like, for what makes something beautiful, I'm like, nothing makes something beautiful. It just is. Like, it's just a state, I feel like.
See,
And
okay,
I
here-
understand. I understand there's embellishment, and that's what the term I'm going to pick: embellishment or like enhancement. But I do think that at the core, something is beautiful because it was made that way. It just is. And I mean, I guess that's like where the saying "beauty's in the eye of the beholder" thing comes in. But like, I don't necessarily think that I can take something and be like, "Hey, here's how I'm going to make you more beautiful." I could say, here's how we're going to play up your best features, but I can't give or take away beauty. It just is there. So
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
To add to that, because I agree with you as well. I mean, I also know that, like, if we're talking like scientifically, like biologically or whatever, like, there are things that are universally considered beautiful, if you will, because like we're just drawn to certain things. Like, we know this about like symmetry and things like that, right? So in that sense, there is somewhat of a there are some things that are universal, I guess.
But
I don't think so. I think what you're talking about is aesthetically pleasing versus
Okay, sure.
versus beauty.
Okay, yes. Fine, sure. Yeah. However, thank you. That's a better way to put it. But yeah, I agree with you in the sense that like people, like faces, like things are beautiful just because they are, because they were made that way. And so like I think that some of this is tricky, because if we're talking again about like the idea of like enhancements, like you called it, you know, people doing things like, you know, filler and all that kind of stuff. It seems to me that things have gotten to a point where people are going to get these things done because there is a one standard or picture in people's head that they are all trying to look like. So you have people who go and get filler or get whatever procedures done, and they all walk out looking like kind of a version of the same because their goal is to be as close as they can to this one
ideal.
Yeah, this one standard, this one picture that they have in their head. And that I totally disagree with, because there is no one standard or picture of beauty. Like you said, you're beautiful because you just are, because you were made that way. So like from a makeup perspective, like for me, like I don't try to get everyone whose makeup I do to try to look the same. It's like you said, like, what do you love about yourself? What are your favorite things about your face? Like, what do you feel like are your best features? And like, let's enhance that because that feels beautiful to you. I'm not trying to make everyone look the same who sits down in my chair. So I don't know how to, like, does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. And I guess the fact that it is hard for us to define it, even though you feel like you know, but it's hard to articulate, I think again just comes down to the fact that there's mixed messaging and that the fact that we are prone to change our mind about things. Like one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I look great. I'm so cute. Like I'm smart. I'm beautiful. Yeah, da, da, da. And then the next day you wake up and you feel like utter trash. And the fact that we can blow with the wind on that tells me that the standards that we're setting are not actually standards at all. They're ideals. And so that is why you can flip back and forth and why it's like, I don't know how to define beauty because what beauty is defined as changed like 5 times on TikTok this week. Like, you know, we're chasing after something rather than just sitting the acceptance of it is what it is. And the fact that it is what it is beauty in itself. But it's so hard to move out of that thinking. I think it takes a lot of intention. But I think something helpful in that would be the idea of like, what are some of the things that aging or your beauty changing, what is some things that affords you? Because I think all we think about is, oh my gosh, I don't look just the way I did X amount of years ago. That must mean that my worth has decreased. When it doesn't, it means that you have just evolved and changed. And if God makes something beautiful and in that moment it's beautiful just because he created it, well, he created you to age. Like he created this process. I mean, of course, in the beginning before sin, like we were probably going to stay perfect forever, but he has allowed us to go through this process. So can we not believe that what he made beautiful at that time will continue to be beautiful in every stage it's at?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's just kind of like, what are some of those things that we can look to, or what are some of the things that can help us be confident and secure in the fact that that beauty might change, but it doesn't change your worth or your value.
I think that's what I was trying to say earlier of like, because our culture is so focused on physical appearance, when we think of aging, all we think of is the things that we think it takes away from us, as opposed to thinking about all the things that aging adds to our lives.
Yes.
In all kinds of aspects. So
Yeah.
I think I don't want to get too into it because you guys are speaking about women beauty. But the reason I jump in is because I actually think the way that you guys are viewing beauty is wrong.
hot take.
Pray thee tell.
Yeah. But I don't think it's wrong like your fault wrong. I think what you guys have been pitched by society of what beauty actually is what's causing you to think of beauty incorrectly.
Okay, I think I might know where you're going with this, but explain.
I don't think beauty is synonymous with how you look.
Agreed.
Right?
I agree too.
But I think that we're talking about the appearance specifically.
But that's what he's saying. We've been pitched the wrong thing.
So when you talk about it, you're already off. To get to the root of what beauty is, you kind of have to move away from the fact that you're thinking it's looks to get to the core of what you're talking about. I wish this was my saying. I wish, because it's so good. It's Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
His definition of beauty is, I hope I say it right. Beauty is the dwelling place for the enlightened mind.
That's cool.
Right? Let that sit. The dwelling place for the enlightened mind. I think that in itself is why beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Right? now, what makes something beautiful, I actually think there is an answer. And I think the answer is dedication, consistency, and intentional hard work. I think
Okay.
those things is what creates something beautiful. Think about God at the very beginning, right? Earth was void and without form. And with dedication, there is a consistency to how things work in this world. And he worked hard to where he needed to rest. And now we have this beautiful life that we live in, right? And we can't even grasp how beautiful it is because it's not something you see. Although you can see it, you know, but to sit here and be like, I don't know, it's just like we just like it just is beautiful, you know? It's because somebody or God, for this analogy, put work into it, right? Think about a marriage, a beautiful marriage. Two people were dedicated, they were consistent, and they put hard, intentional work into it. Think about a garden. Think about all the things we find beauty in, right? If I'm doing my skincare because I care about my health.
When you said intentionality and consistency, that's immediately what I thought of.
But for real though.
I know.
Right? And then and think about the person. I'm gonna say the woman, because you guys are way more skincare focused. But there are men too. But think about the woman who is in her 60s, but her whole life has been dedicated, consistent, and intentionally working hard at her skincare. People will look at that woman and say, she's beautiful, right? And they'll probably say, ooh, there's a natural beauty to her, right? But I think the beauty part itself is actually a product of effort and not just what we see. So that's why when I think talking about like anti-aging and all this stuff, depending on how you view these things, yeah, you're going to find beauty in it. Or you're just going to think because society and men in suits have pitched you guys this idea that...
Men in suits.
It's true.
I know.
Have pitched you guys this idea that to be beauty, you actually don't have to work hard. All you got to do is just inject yourself with something. But then you all end up looking like carbon copies. You know? It's like auto-tune. Something about a natural voice and then an auto-tune voice. You know? There's beauty in human. So that's why I think I get what you're saying, but I think you're looking at it a little off. Or maybe you're attaching the looks part of it too much to beauty. Because I think looks have very little to do with beauty at the core of what beauty is.
Yes.
I don't think that the way that we've been talking about it is off. I just think that everything that you just said adds another layer of like depth and understanding and complexity to the conversation. Like,
Okay,
if
how you were talking about it was missing a very big...
That's fine. Like, I feel like if we had just been talking about everything like on this level, then like everything that you just said added another layer of depth to like here. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. I agree with everything that you just said.
I think your original conversation is a great conversation. But I don't think it's a beauty conversation. I think it's a beauty industry conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I feel like, sorry, no, you go.
No, it's okay. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
There was no finishing. I was going to start. Same as you. Go.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say that to an extent, I fully agree. We are having a beauty industry conversation. But I don't think it's entirely a beauty industry conversation. And I think that's because women have fallen prey to this since biblical times. Like, what is it? Psalms Proverbs 31 verse 30 or something like that. Charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it was in there is because men and women alike, because keep in mind, Proverbs 31 was written for men, actually, technically. The fact that that had to be mentioned says that there was inappropriate or misplaced value on somebody's outward appearance. Again, the Bible says man looks on the outside, but God looks on the heart. So yes, this is a beauty industry thing, but the beauty industry only amplifies the problem that humans have already had, which is misplaced worship in the way that we look.
Yeah.
And so I think to further that conversation about the depth of it, yes, beauty involves like dedication and work, and it's like you're cultivating something. And that is exactly why we're beautiful, because again, fearfully and wonderfully made. That means that God put in that dedication and that time and that effort on us, which is incredible. But we do have that misplaced worship of how we look, because that's how we can easily assess other people. And we think that what we see is what somebody is valued as, or what their worth is. And so I think that that's why we have this problem, and all the beauty industry did was amplify it. And so I guess
it marketed our problem to us.
It's like selling ice to penguins.
Sounds very American.
Yes. No, it does. It's selling ice to penguins. But like I guess my thought then, because I'm not going to sit here and say as Christian women, we should not at all care about our appearance.
Right.
Or we should boycott Sephora. I'm not saying any of that.
I'm also not willing to say that as Christian women, you should never get Botox or filler or anything like that.
I think
I'm not willing to
the
say
Holy
that
Spirit
either.
has to convict you on that. But what I am saying is that, like, as Christian women who all understand that we're in this position where we are prone to misplace our worship and put it on the way we look, the way others perceive us, the way men perceive us. If we're older, like we have to keep looking young because then like we're never going to get married, yada, yada, yada. All these things. What should we be putting our focus on instead? How can we still allow ourselves to take care of ourselves and present ourselves in a way that we feel confident and physically beautiful and all those things, but not take it overboard, because it is so easy to.
Take
Yeah.
care of yourself
Yes.
as if you were somebody that you were responsible for.
I would say, which I think is a little bit similar, is that we're called to be good stewards of things.
Yes.
That includes like ourselves, like our health, like the bodies that we're in. So
Yeah.
like take care of yourself, like be healthy, like
Skincare.
yeah,
And all
like,
the other care.
eat some
mental
vegetables,
health care,
like be
emotional
active.
care.
Yeah.
Like
Nutritional care.
nutritional care.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Like, and I'm going to say community care. Like,
Yeah.
when's the last time you decided to surround yourself with women who are aging gracefully, I'll say, and who are like open to that and happy about it and are living their best life and embracing everything that comes along with it? Like, when is the last time you intentionally put yourself in that circle?
Clarifying question. When you say aging gracefully, what specifically do you mean? Because I'll tell you what comes to mind for me. Aging gracefully is a woman who is embracing the process of aging and who, like, okay, fine, maybe has had like a couple units of something here and there, but again, is not 65 trying to look like she's 35. What do you mean specifically when you say aging gracefully?
I mean a woman who doesn't put her value in her physical appearance,
Okay.
but puts her value in the maturity that she's been blessed with through her age and how she can use that to glorify God and serve others.
Okay, gotcha.
That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
But also what I was going to say to the point you guys made, something I was going to say is, the Bible calls us time and time again to love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus said that a lot. He liked that. Something that I believe is to love my neighbor as myself. That's also a call to love myself. Because if I'm loving my neighbor as myself and I hate myself, do you think I'm really going to do that?
I'm
kind of
treating
a
people like
job?
trash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether you want to or not, because you're going to realize that you're more judgmental, you're more harsh, you're more short with people, because that's how you are with yourself. You don't know any better. And so do things that can teach you to love and take care of yourself. And that does not always look like bubble baths and skincare and this, that, and the next. But how can I intentionally grow and bloom where I'm planted? How can I, seek the Lord in more things? How can I do things to overall round myself off as a person and be somebody who is open to taking experiences of serving other people and open to just growing, like, for lack of any other way to say it, because that's so important. And in our process of doing that, I do believe that we are just naturally called to look closer to Jesus on how to do that, because we will realize our dependence in that area. It is not something we can achieve on our own. But it is a beautiful process to go through. It hurts sometimes, but it's still a beautiful process to go through. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I think one of the main things that it comes down to is, like, check your heart, basically. And that can look like a lot of things. That can lead to a lot of things. Like you said, where are your priorities? And through all of that kind of stuff, like, where are your convictions, and where are they not? And, like, all of those kinds of things. Right. And I think if at the end of the day, the goal is to, like, seek the Lord, then I think that, like, your answers to a lot of these things, like, will come from that. So yeah, I don't think that there is, like, a specific right and a specific wrong answer, generally speaking. I think that there is for each person, and you have to discover what that is through going through, like, the process that you just mentioned. I think that's, like, the important part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Priya, for you personally, how do you think God's response would be to you if you told him, I want to get filler?
In this specific moment, it would be, financially speaking,
No, not
that is
about
a very
finance.
irresponsible
No,
thing for you to do.
no. Take away the money stuff. Just, how would he feel about you deciding to get filler?
In this moment in my life, for what?
Period. At any moment.
But that's
in your
what I'm
life.
saying. Like, the answer would be, like, for what?
No, at any moment in your life.
But how do you answer about a moment in your life that doesn't exist currently?
How do you think he would feel about you at any moment deciding to rob somebody? You have an answer for that, right?
But don't you feel like that's different?
No, that's why I'm asking you.
Do you not feel like that's different?
Okay, just so we are clear, I have a strong stance that I do not think
We know that you're not into that.
Let me say it. I do not think that you can age gracefully and be putting fillers in your body. I feel like they are opposite things. I do not feel like those two things can be true at the same time. I feel like one goes against the other. Personally. But I am a boy, so shut up.
If I were a boy. That's an interesting question.
But that is my take. That is my stance. If you ever wonder what EJ thinks, that is what he thinks.
No further questions.
I mean, I don't think that anybody was really guessing.
Just saying. But that's why I ask.
Okay, what was the question again?
How do you think God would respond to you saying you want to get some sort of filler, some sort of tox? Is it only Botox? Is there more tox?
Botox is a name brand.
Oh.
Maybe you want Juvederm.
Yeah, Dysport. Like,
It's like Kleenex.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How do you think he would feel about you wanting to put something in your body to, for whatever reason, you're to fix something. Because those things, is it safe to say that those injections are to fix something?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay. Why not?
So, for example, there is something called like preventative Botox. So, like,
It's a
like,
fix.
no, it's not a fix because you're not fixing something.
But you're preventing it.
You're preventing something from happening. So you're prematurely fixing it.
Okay, but in that case, how is that different than me using retinol right now? Because I'm using retinol right now not to fix anything.
What is it for?
It's to prevent the signs of aging, if you will, that would come quicker if I didn't use it.
I got a problem with that. I think it's the state of your mind.
Leave me and my retinol alone.
Okay, is there a health benefit? Is it healthy? Is there a big difference in the health benefit physically to putting filler in you versus using a cream?
Is there a health benefit?
Like, does retinol do something good for your skin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does filler do something good for your body other than make you look a certain way?
Sorry, did you say filler or Botox?
Either one.
I don't know what the stuff that you know.
Well, they
The
are very
injectables.
different.
The stuff.
Anything that you're putting
Yes.
in
So-
and not just
so
on.
if we're
Yeah,
talking-
the stuff that my ignorance doesn't know.
Okay, what was the question?
Is there a difference in the health benefits? Like, is one good for you and then one just not bad for you? Or are they both good for you?
In terms of health, like they're neutral. They're not making you healthier, but they're also not making you less healthy. I would say the difference in the two things is, one, filler is adding something into your body or like into your skin or whatever. Botox is not.
I'm not comparing Botox and filler, though.
No, but you're talking about like health though, and like if it's adding health to your body.
See, I feel like she's semanticing me because I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, but they are different though, because you're talking about adding things into your body.
But hear the crux of my question, though. You're gonna detail me to death. I'm talking about retinol and then the other stuff that you inject.
Can we go with like invasive and non-invasive? I think that might help clarify things.
Okay.
Invasive meaning it's getting put in your body through something like a needle or some sort of knife.
Okay.
And non-invasive like a cream, a
Listen,
moisturizer.
I am in my Elle Woods era right now.
I
Okay.
don't know what that means. You guys say it all the time. I never know what it means.
Have you?
Elle Woods is the character from Legally Blonde.
Never
She
seen that.
she decides to go to Harvard and become a
You
lawyer.
promised us that you would watch one girly movie with us. This has
That's
to be
true. It
it
has yet to happen.
You did promise.
I didn't. I said I promise if Elliot agrees, and he did not.
Whatever.
Well, EJ,
Yes.
we're your
we'll talk
friends
to Tate
too.
about it.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk
Well,
to Tate about
this
it.
will be happening in no time. And then you can make us more quesadillas. Anyway,
No.
before I get on, guys, those quesadillas.
Oh, no, I'm
Okay.
hungry.
So to make my question quick, okay, because I don't want to drag it out.
Okay.
Do you think that retinol is the same as the invasive stuff?
No, I don't think it's the same.
Why?
Well, for one, like you're saying, one is a skin, it's a topical, versus the other is an injectable.
That's the only reason why? Is there good ingredients in retinol?
Yes.
Is there good ingredients in the other stuff?
Yes.
Okay. I concede then.
Like
I feel like you're capping, but I'll concede.
No, I'm actually not. No, I'm actually not. For example, in filler, is it Juvederm? I don't know. One of them. Anyway, it's hyaluronic acid based. So you're actually increasing the hydration level of your lips, for example.
Then why they look like that, Priya?
Because people do too much.
That was the eye roll of the century. I always have to narrate what's happening behind the camera. I feel like it's my duty
true. You do that.
for everyone who can't see.
Okay, to be clear, I do think that there is a difference. Something that you do topically versus like a procedure that's like involves injectables. I do think that there's a difference. Like, let me just be honest. I do. One is like on a level here. The other is on a level like here.
To me, it's like creatine and steroids.
Sure. Okay.
Is that a good comparison?
That's,
Okay.
I think so.
I'll
our
accept
body
that.
makes creatine. Our
I mean, our
doesn't
body makes hyaluronic acid too. But okay. Yes,
that's-
I get what you're saying.
Isn't that the
point.
comparison point?
Yeah, that's the
Wait, I'm
point.
confused. Guys, I'm getting lost. You finish your conversation.
Oh no.
I'm getting so lost.
We got to circle back and pick up Shane.
Not a circle back.
This is what our household looks like when the cameras are not on as well.
I'm crying. Y'all aren't lying.
I understand what you're saying. And yes, I'm willing to accept that analogy, that comparison.
If I can't make a generalization, then I will say I think a very, 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 very small percentage of people, not even just women, people are getting in these invasive injectables and still aging gracefully. I don't think those two things can coincide. If it can, it's a very small percentage.
Okay.
Can I just say?
Yes, please.
I like arguing around Shaina.
With your original question, and it was kind of like, what do you think God would say? As all this has been happening, the tennis match has been being played, okay? I cannot get out of my head. I literally heard it. It was weird. It's like, sounds so weird to say out loud the way it was phrased, but it's like, my child, just make sure that what you're doing is not glorifying my creation over the creator. I cannot
Amen
stop
to
hearing
that.
that in my head.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm going to put out. I think that if you know that what you're doing is not glorifying the creator and instead it's glorifying yourself, then you know that it's idolatry. And God tells us in the 10 Commandments, do not commit adultery or idolatry.
I mean both.
I mean, both.
Yeah, true. They're both in there.
Yeah.
Don't do either.
He covered all of them.
Both are bad ideas.
But so it's like, I just think that needs to be our point of focus. Are we glorifying our creator in the things that we do, or are we trying to glorify ourselves? And I think
Amen
that
to
if we're
that.
honest with ourselves about that question, things will become very clear very quick. That is not to say that if you are in a state right now where it is hard to do that because there's deep insecurity and there's deep shame, or you feel less than because of something that somebody did to you or said to you, or just circumstances, whether within or out of your control, that is still okay. And it's not like God is upset at you. He understands. Like, he genuinely understands because he created every emotion and he knows you. But I would say that let that be your guiding light. Like, am I able to do something knowing that I am glorifying my creator over myself? And so, yes, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I'm so glad that you brought up that verse so early on, because amazing verse. And yes, like, fearing the Lord is what is to be praised, and not our charm or our beauty or any of the other things, like our feminine energy, like that. None of that. And also just knowing that we are created in the image of God.
Yeah.
Right from Genesis, he tells us that. And if we are created in his image, like, technically, you really don't need to fix anything. If you want to, I will leave that to you and God, of course, but like, just know that as you are enough. And anything that you want to do beyond that is just little bells and whistles.
And side note, for the women who do it for men, men don't care. Just for those
And the
people.
ones who do don't matter.
I think most men don't care. I think most men like a woman aging. How?
Yeah, but you have
Nature
the
and
men
Poll
out there who are all like,
question.
ooh, fake boobs. Like,
No, men are like boobs. Period. Actually, never mind. Let me not get R-rated.
Tune into the after pod. I'm kidding.
Let me chill out.
oh my gosh, do you remember back in the day those breast cancer bracelets that like everyone was wearing? And
Like
like
the
especially in
stretchy
high
jelly
school,
ones?
like the guys would wear them and think that like, oh, like they're being like so cool because it was actually for a good thing, but they could like say it and they were like, I love boobies. Do you remember those bracelets?
Yeah, and it didn't say I love fake boobies. It just said boobies.
I kind of remember them.
Do you remember those bracelets?
I remember
Everyone
just, like,
was wearing them.
I remember that there used to always be like cancer awareness bracelets. And
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
It was those and like the Livestrong bracelets. But like
I
specifically,
remember Live Strong more than the breast cancer ones. Yeah.
yeah, those are popular. But yeah, I specifically remember when people started wearing like the I love boobie bracelets. And then all the guys were like, well, you can't say anything about it. You can't tell me not to wear it because it's supporting breast cancer awareness.
Oh my gosh.
I think most men that are not in some sort of entertainment industry or in LA, your average person, I think those men appreciate a woman that is also the same age as them, that is also going through life and aging like them. Period. Yeah, that's my thought.
Shout out to the good men.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's that on that. By the way, I was listening to you just now, but I was writing down a poll question before I forgot, and I realized that probably looked really rude. I'm sorry.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, did I just? Okay.
You just outed yourself again.
Yeah.
It just felt very rude, and I just felt the need to address it.
Nope.
Can I just one last? I'm going to read a scripture verse. Ephesians 2 verse 10. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared us in advance to do. Our purpose is not in what we look like; it's in what we do. And so, let's let
And
that.
not what you do, as in like, hi, I'm Priya, and I'm blah blah blah.
XYZ.
This is my profession.
Not your accolades.
Yeah.
What you do to further the work of Christ, because that is our purpose, our commission. Go into the world, preach the gospel. That was
Period.
That was my last. Okay, EJ, you ready for boy briefs?
Always.
Let's go.
Woo. All right, your question today.
I do be feeling relieved when it gets to boy briefs, because then I'm like, oh, now I can like talk and not feel like I'm
intruding on the
intruding
conversation.
on the girl convo.
He's like, please be boy briefs, please be boy briefs.
Because I know
It's your
there's
time to
someone. I
shine.
know there's someone listening. Like, why is this man talking about women's beauty? Ugh, get him off the mic.
Mansplaining.
Yeah,
Aw.
I'm sorry.
Here's your time to mansplain.
I just,
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just gotta play a devil's advocate real quick.
Yeah, we
Keep
know.
the conversation interesting. It's good.
Okay. My question is, what is something that you think men learn too early and something that men learn too late?
Ooh. Okay. I think men learn too early that nobody's coming to save you. Therefore, you got to figure it out on your own. And I think because of that, what we learn too late is that it's okay to find people to talk to when you need to talk.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. That can like also be said in a way like boys learn too early that we can't talk about our feelings.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like if we like broaden it a little bit, you're talking about like community and like mental health, community and feelings and mental health.
I guess so.
Kinda, sorta?
I don't know. That just sounds so like internet though. Ooh, mental health. But yeah, I guess so.
He says with a whole therapist sitting in the room.
Literally. As if you're also not trying to be
About
that.
to do that. I can't wait to just see the progression.
Same.
I'm gonna be the realest therapist in the room.
I can't wait to be sitting all three of us in a room with all three of our like psychology
Our
degrees.
psychologies, yeah. Just like the three Spider-Men pointing at each other.
But it's all three of us with our degrees.
All our degrees.
No, at that point, the two of you will be more educated than I am. Oh my gosh.
Girl, no. Anyway.
Well, it's true. And I'm fine for it. I'm here for it. Bring it on. I love it.
If we're rich by the time I get to my master's, you can take your master's. And we can just graduate together.
Oh, that's cute.
True.
You know?
I approve. That's cute.
But yes, I think boys learn too early that we can't talk about our feelings because if we do, you are gay or you are soft or those feelings get used against you or those feelings are just not cared about. There's no safety in sharing your feelings. When in reality, what we should learn is where we can go to discuss our feelings and get that safety.
And what would that look like if there were to actually be that messaging? Where would it be most effective to see it, or what would it look like?
There's a few places. Dads, definitely. Like, it's okay to talk to your son about just life and what he's going through. And not just like a rub some dirt on it, you know? But like actually talk to him and help him understand what he's feeling, how to process it.
Teaching emotional intelligence.
But also manly emotional intelligence. Because I do think there's a difference. You know, I don't think little boys should be crying everywhere all the time for everything. However, it's okay to cry. And I think a dad can teach his son how to get those feelings out in a proper way that when you become an adult, you'll be...
So emotional regulation.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't think... No, let me not say that. I just think it's easier for a dad to do it because he's a man. He's been through it. I think girls... sometimes I find girls have a tendency, unknowingly, to throw boys' feelings in their face or use it against them, and they may not know they're doing that, and the boy's not going to tell you. Or he might laugh it off, but deep down he's like, I'll never say anything to you again. Ever.
So sad.
Yeah. Friends, you know, like homie friends, knowing how to read if your friend is genuinely needing comfort from his boys and when it's time to roast and when it's time to not roast. I think that's a factor. There's many factors and scenarios that can reinforce these things, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then we learn too late in life that it's okay to have feelings and all the things. But I find if you learn too late, that's when you either explode, you give those feelings to the wrong person, you know, because let's say somebody who is supposed to be your safe place is not, and then someone who isn't supposed to be is, and then you end up in situations, or you end up a stat. Read between the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was really good. I know overall, you're saying it is really helpful for men to learn this from other men, but that's not always a reality.
No.
And I think that obviously with our podcast, the whole idea of community doesn't just apply to women and womanhood, but like we're here for each other, all of us. So like women, and I don't even mean like romantically placed in your life women, but just like what can women do in the awareness of the fact that that is a challenge that men are facing from young.
Listen to men when they talk to you, because then they're more likely to open up. Listen in effort to learn about men. I find so often men, we get penalized for just being men. So sometimes sharing what we go through can come across as toxic. You know what I mean? And then we end up either having to comfort the woman we're talking to and reassure her that, like, we're not toxic. It's just something I'm experiencing. And we never actually get to end up being the focus. So I would say, women, try your best to listen, not to feel something towards yourself, but just listen to try to understand that men are different. And sometimes how we are is just not great. We're humans, you know? But if we're sharing it with you, chances are we're trying to work through it.
So you're saying do your best to listen to understand as opposed to listen to see if you should be taking it personally.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a perfect way of explaining it.
I did like that.
Okay.
Cool. Any further questions?
I have none, Your Honor.
Nah,
Nice.
I killed that, yo.
Yeah, you did.
That was great mansplaining.
It really was.
That was good.
Okay, so if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give us a like and a follow. You could follow us on what are our socials? We have Instagram, and we're on YouTube right now. So if you are listening to us rather than watching us, you might want to consider watching the YouTube version. So you can check us out at Big
Upgrade.
Girls. Yeah, Big Girls Panty
Upgrade.
Pod on YouTube. You could also listen to us if listening is rather your thing on not Google Podcasts.
No,
They're gone.
not that.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and in any of those platforms, be sure to, give us a little rating, review, a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want us to talk about. This is our podcast. It's a group project. So
Yes.
let us know. If you want to follow Priya, EJ, or myself, you can find us in the show notes, on Instagram, all that stuff. And until next time, stay courageous, stay faithful, keep embracing the journey, and don't get your panties in a bunch. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
I think YouTube is like the podcast enhancement. Podcast Botox.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Podcast Botox.
It's the auto-tune.